What is going on, guys? It's Gene Jensen. It is time for another Friday Night Live. What is up? What is up, guys? Oh, man. What a great week it has been. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everybody that's joining me on my podcast. If you guys don't know, I have a podcast called Flukemaster Fishing, where basically this just gets put over there so guys who are driving on the road can listen to it if they want to. But anyway, welcome. We got a new sponsor this week we'll talk about here in just a minute. And I'm pretty excited about it. But let's get everybody a chance to jump on. I just downed 2 hamburgers, so I'm probably going to have a little hard time talking tonight. But between that and 1 tomato sandwich today, that's all I've eaten. Probably should have eaten a little bit better, but it is what it is. What's up? Hey, Chris, how's it going? Facebook must be messing up. You got that comment 3 times. Goodness gracious. Oh, man. What's up? Everybody's talking about if anybody's catching them. I've been catching some big ones this week. Caught a 5, a 6, and a 6.5 yesterday. Day before, I caught 2 7s and a 4.5 or a 5. It was somewhere around 5. I didn't weigh. I didn't put it on the scale. But been doing really good. You just got to be slow and be methodical and yeah, it's been a blast though. Goodness. But other than that, let's see what else is going on. Sunday's 4th of July. Happy 4th of July, everybody. That's why I'm wearing my my festive shirt. Good old American flag bass. But I don't think we're going to shoot off any fireworks this year, though. I just don't feel like spending that kind of money. We usually drop $400 or $500 on fireworks and shoot them out here in the field. But I think we're just going to go into town and kind of hang out and watch the fireworks that the city pays for, or county pays for anyway. So goodness. I got a new video just popped up about my trailer. Got another one earlier this week if you guys haven't seen it. And then I've got a jig video coming out here shortly. Jordan just finished editing it. It's on YouTube. I just got to figure out when I'm going to launch it. So, but anyway, let's real quick as we get things rocking and rolling. Let's talk about a sponsor that's come on board just for the next few weeks. And it's not fishing related. It actually is it is a patch. I got one that I keep right here. I have right here on my shoulder. It's called Signal Relief is what it is. And it's basically a patch when you're hurting, when you got pain or discomfort and stuff on your shoulders or knees or joints or whatever. You guys know me. I hurt all over. I wish they made one of these things for that's a suit. But anyway, when they sent me this, you know me, you guys that have been following me for a long time. I don't just grab something and say, "Oh, yay, it works." No, I've had this for 2.5 months and spent some time playing around with it and seeing if what this is really works. And what it is when you're hurting. And you don't, if you're like me, I don't like to take medicine. I don't like to take ibuprofen, Tylenol, anything. I'll put up with the pain before I'll take that. Well, they sent me this and I don't know what kind of voodoo, witchcraft, magic stuff this thing is, but it works. It just so happens that when I spend a lot of time on my computer, my shoulders, the muscles start to tighten up and things like that. And it gets to the point where I can't turn my head. I dropped one of these things on my neck and on my shoulders, and within a few minutes, it was comfortable again. I'm not saying that this thing cures your pain. What it does is it has something to do with electrical signals going to your brain through your nerves and all this other stuff. I don't know. Just understand that it just works. So these, basically, to cut this thing short, we'll talk more about it at the end of the deal. But we're doing a discount, a deep discount on these things. The link's down in the description. And it's a special link for just you guys to click on. And for the next 3 days, you get even more discount because they're running a flash sale. So you get the Flukemaster discount, and on top of that, the flash sale discount. And then to top it all off, from each of the patches that you guys buy, $40 goes to my favorite charity, Special Ops Survivor, which helps the wives and the children of our special ops guys who don't come home. And I've been promoting them for many years, and that to this day, it's still my favorite charity. So $40 of your purchase goes to that. So it's pretty awesome. It is kind of weird though. It's kind of just strange that a patch could just be dropped on wherever, wherever you have hurting and aching and stuff like that. And you get relief from it, and it's just great. As you can see, this one's a little wrinkled, and it lasts for years and years and years if you take care of it. And it's got a little adhesive back to it, as you guys can see. And it's just awesome. So they're going to be sponsoring us for the next couple of next few weeks, and 100% of the money that I was supposed to get goes to Special Ops Survivor. So I ain't making a dime off of it. So appreciate you guys. Happy Independence Day, everyone. Let's jump into it. Let's see. Goodness. Oh yeah, another thing I really worry about. Somebody just said something about ibuprofen. I think ibuprofen. I always worry about taking too much of that because I hear it does crazy things to your liver. I don't drink, so I got a pretty healthy liver. I hate to mess it up. Anyway. Oh, let's see. I'm just going to grab one and start. Let's go with Britton Hewitt. Which is better for flipping wood, a jig or a Texas rig? Whew. I prefer a Texas rig just because I always have one tied on. A jig is something that I literally got away from fishing for the last 2 years. I'd grab it every once in a while, but this year I'm religiously going to fish a jig. And if I'm going to flip a jig, it's going to be a heavy cover jig. It's going to be one that's designed to go down and come back out. Got a little bit thicker weed guard and that kind of stuff. So any jig's not going to work for flipping wood. But a good heavy cover jig will work. The hack attack jig's a really good one, that kind of stuff. So, but you just got to have heavy line to get them up out of that wood. So, Tim Power says the On the Water Innovation trailer is sweet. Someday I'll get one. Man, I love that trailer. Absolutely, it's exactly what I needed. I can't wait till I have time to sit down and modify that other rod tube to what I want you guys. You guys are going to have to see it. I'm not even going to tell you because somebody's going to copy me. It's such a good idea. So it's going to take me a little while to figure out how I'm going to do it. But that second rod tube isn't going to be just for rods. It's going to be a really cool tube. So goodness. Hey Gene, I'm fishing in Oklahoma. What's the best bait to use in my state this time of the year? Man, a bass is a bass is a bass. Anytime, anywhere. I can take my tackle box that's in the back of my kayak right now. I'm saying my kayak because it's the smallest amount of tackle that I have prepared. I can go to any lake in the country and figure out and catch fish. It's got a moving baits. It's got dragging baits. It's got finesse baits and stuff like that. Everything I need for any body of water. And whether you're in Oklahoma or in Florida, you can catch a fish on just about anything. Florida, the challenges is the grass. Oklahoma, I don't think there's that much grass in Oklahoma. That's the differences, but the bass are still the same. They're still going to react to the same style baits. So take your pick. This time of the year in the summertime, they're going to be out deep. You're going to want to fish baits that are deep and that kind of stuff, and on drops and ledges and bluff walls and that kind of stuff. So. Aaron Pepper, thanks, man. Happy Independence Day, man. Holy cow! All the comments just flew up to it flew down to the bottom, and I missed everybody's. Damon, what's going on, man? This is the Jig Master. I've been watching you. Oh, is Tylenol that real bad for your liver? I don't think Tylenol, not so much, but ibuprofen is. What's up, Gene? It's my birthday. You've recently gotten me back into fishing after about a 20-year hiatus. Well, happy birthday and congratulations. Getting back to it, I had to pull away from bass fishing from the time I was a teenager till I got married because, the Army got in the way and, that kind of stuff. But I get it. And you get back and so much stuff has changed and there's so much more to learn. And that is definitely the reason, one of the biggest reasons why I make these videos is because there's a lot of people like you that are jumping right back into it. So Can you mention the charity tournament, Save JT on Tourney X? I had that in my list. So there's a tournament. It is a benefit tournament for Jason. Oh man, my mind just went blank. I've got his phone number. I roomed with him in Texas. Jason, I'm so sorry. But Jason's son, JT, is fighting a very, very rare illness that they're trying to get a cure for. They just have to keep him alive long enough to be able to save his life, basically. And we've already, not we, but the kayak community, we've put together, or a buddy of mine has put together a tournament on Tourney X called Save JT. $50 entry fee. All the money goes to funding that, funding the research. And we've already raised like $33,000, $35,000, something like that. But even if you're not going to fish a tournament, just donate $50. Go to Tourney X, sign up, and enter that tournament, man. There's like 900 and something people entered now. It's so freaking awesome. Anyway, tips for someone who just got their first fish finder. Woo. I guess my biggest tip with a fish finder is trust it. Trust that what's down there is what is something. And it's hard to try to figure out what that something is. If it has down imaging, run regular fish finder and down imaging at the same time, because that down imaging can really help you pick apart and help you get a better visual of what is down there, whether it be a rock pile or a brush pile and tree. And then it's a matter of just memorizing what that stuff looks like. And what fish look like, but you're looking for cover and structure on the bottom more than you're looking for fish. You find the cover, find the structure, then find fish that are located around it, and you're golden, man. You can. It just takes time. That's all it does. So let's see. Oh, Jay Rofton, give us some Icast teasers. I can't. Just know that I have a video already in the queue, ready to launch just before Icast for one of my sponsors. I've got a couple of other sponsors that are supposed to be sending me new stuff. I'm not going to get any further than that. So there's a lot of really cool new stuff going on. But I've been to 13 Icasts. This will be my 13th Icast, and it's always the same stuff over and over again, just the new technology or the better materials and stuff like that. Everybody's trying to recreate the wheel, and I've tried to find something every year that impresses me. And I'll try to do that again this year, and I'll do a few lives while I'm there. So we'll see. It's gonna be a little smaller than it's normally been, because I guess there's still companies who can't travel because of COVID. So went fishing and camping on Kerr Lake, connected to the Roanoke River in Virginia, and caught them on top water and bottom baits. I saw some bass schooling too. That's awesome, David. That's awesome. I was born up the mountain from Roanoke, Virginia, up in Covington, Virginia is where I was born 100 years ago. What's your suggestion on a good crankbait rod? 711 or 7.6 or what? I have 3 crankbait rods. I have a 711 medium, heavy, moderate that is for deep diving crankbaits when I've got to throw them a long ways. 7.6 for those medium to deep diving crankbaits, or 7.4. And then I've got a 610 or a 6, I think it is a 610. That is for your shallow to medium diving crankbaits. And so it just all depends. The shallow medium diving, I'm throwing to targets and need accurate casting, so I don't want a long rod. I want a shortest rod I can get away with. So hold on, let me get a drink. I'm just going to leave the lid off that thing. How can I get a Flukemaster carpet decal? I have no clue. I don't know. Find a printer, and there are a few that already have my logo, but find a printer that has them or that makes them, and then have them contact me, and I'll send them my vector file. So let's see. Fishing a shaky head on a spinning reel. Do you recommend braid to Floral leader or straight Floro? If braid to leader, how long should the leader be? Thanks. I always fish braid to a fluorocarbon leader on a spinning reel, mainly because the braid is so problem-free comparative to having a main line of fluorocarbon. So I'm always having a braid, always having a fluorocarbon leader. If I'm fishing a shaky head and I'm using an FG knot that lasts for days and days and days, I'm going to use a longer than I normally would leader. So the longer leader is probably 14, 15 feet long. If I'm not using a knot that lasts a long time, I know I'm gonna break off or have that, have to retie that knot several times, I'm gonna use a shorter leader so I don't waste as much fluorocarbon. So, I used to do a rod and a half. So basically just reel it in until your line is, or the knot is right at the reel, and then cut it off, and you have about a rod and a half worth of line, a little bit more than that. So, dang it, the comments just jumped again. Let me go backwards and see if I can find any. Casey says, hey, Gene, have you ever tried a Jika rig or a Geeka rig? I have. Gamakatsu has some new ones that have the welded ring, which makes it 10 times more durable and stronger and able to withstand a lot of wear and tear. I used one. I use them mainly for punching grass or getting down into and below grass. Not really punching mats, but punching like slightly submerged grass, milfoil and hydrilla and that kind of stuff. And so that's typically what I use it for. Hey, Gene, do you fish Pennsylvania often? What's your favorite lake in PA to fish? I have never fished. The only lake I fished in Pennsylvania is Erie. And really it was in New York. So, but yeah, that's the only lake I've been up there and fished. Hey, Gene, what's up, brother? So I was at Bass Pro just recently and saw some garlic dip. I want to say it was spike it dip. What are your thoughts on those? Keep in mind, I struggle to catch fish. I used to be a spike it fanatic until I was introduced to JJ's Magic. JJ's Magic is a stronger garlic scent with a base chemical that has no odor and no flavor, and it is a lot more. You get more bites with it than you do spike it. I put this to the test multiple times while I was guiding and when I was off fishing by myself until I became 100% convinced that it worked. It's kind of like the patch. I don't believe in anything called magic until I try it out and prove whether it works or not. And so, just like the signal relief patch that's here, JJ's Magic is the right stuff. So if you're gonna get garlic dip, get JJ's and you won't be sorry. So, is Damon still gloating over his 1/4 inch win? Yes, he is, and he deserved it. I made him work hard for it. I fished all of 4.5 days this month, and he barely beat me. But he had a huge limit. He had 114 and something, 115 and a quarter, I think, or 100. I can't remember. He had a lot though. So you're an inspiration for all those small channels. Thanks, man. I tell you, my biggest secret is I just haven't quit yet. Once you quit, you stop growing. Definitely. And and I'm doing what I love. Absolutely. I love teaching you guys. I love meeting people. I love everything about what I do. So, except for the stresses of needing sponsors. I wish I could do this without sponsors, but I can't. Got to pay the bills. So Kyle Scarborough just donated $10. Let me find your comment so I can pop it up here. Thanks, man. Thanks for the $10. He says, first off, Fluke, thank you for teaching me how to fish. I finally feel confident reading my electronics. What a struggle with is how to go about fishing for them once you spot them on your electronics. So true. Now, the reason I stopped my electronics videos, and I'll be honest with you guys, I wanted to continue to do them with Ray Marines, but Ray Marine stopped their support of freshwater fishing. To kind of put it in a nutshell, they don't have any emphasis on it anymore. So there was no support from them, and I wasn't very happy about that. And so I stopped doing it. I'm currently looking for another sponsor, electronic sponsor. But I'm open to anybody, but I really want to get back to doing those. But I got to find a home first. I got to find an electronics home first, a company that'll support me when things break, when I got to replace stuff and that kind of stuff, because I use my stuff harder and more than most people out there. And so, you know, being on the water for 250, 275 days a year, you tend to beat your equipment up. But anyway, dude, it's the biggest thing I can tell you about how to find them, or how to fish for them once you find them, is have a setting on your map. I reduced my setting all the way to 50 feet, and I know the distance on my fish finder by looking. You know, I've marked the cover or marked the piece of structure that I want to cast to, and I know how far away that my icon on the map needs to be when I make that cast. So that's kind of the way it goes. And I'll do a little bit better video on that one day for sure. David Green, what's going on, man? He said, I'm just getting to fishing and I'm terrible. I'm having fun, though. I'm headed down to the Lake of the Ozarks tomorrow with my kayak. What lure should I start with? Start with something shallow, because if it's early in the morning, the fish are going to have pulled up on the shallow parts of points and flats and along the bank, and they're going to be chasing bait fish. The best thing to do is when you first get to the lake, look at your electronics, see what the average depth of the balls of bait fish are out in deep water, and then go towards the bank until you get to that depth, and that's the depth you want to fish for a few hours. Then do it again a few hours later as the sun gets up and see how deep the bait fish are. Then go and try to find cover and structure that are at that depth. That's the best way to do it. So have fun, man. Good luck. Damon used to be a professional wrestler, as in like the professional fake wrestler. He says, my wrestling name was Justin Case. If you guys are looking to who he was, that's the guy that I fish against every month for the KBF challenges. So, any chance you're coming up north and fishing the Northeast? I don't have any plans for it this year. I kind of didn't make any plans because I wasn't sure what the governments of the states and all this other crap was going to do with COVID. Now it's starting to calm down, and I'm going to have to plan next year. So, but definitely I need to start traveling again and doing some more videos. So the Hodge family, thanks for the $20. I appreciate it. How would you break down a lake with lots of boat traffic? Going to be on a new lake with rocky and weedy areas this weekend on a kayak. I don't let boat traffic bother me. I just try to be safe, you know, and everything else. But the biggest thing is this time of the year, the bass tend to move out and they're not so much up. There always is a population of bass that stays shallow. And if you've got grass, that's where they're going to be, because that's what's going to be producing the most oxygen for them to breathe and for bait fish to breathe, and it's going to have the most life. So the best thing to do is paddle around or pedal around in your kayak until you find an area that's got a lot of bait, a lot of life, and then start fishing and break that area down. I always start this time of the year. I start on the outside edge of the grass, and I try to find grass that has pockets and holes, like what I call clumpy grass. You got big clumps of grass with holes in between. It usually holds the most fish. So thanks for the $20 again. I appreciate it. I hope I answered your question. Would a white frog work best on a cloudy day and a black frog on a sunny day? I've done both. I hate to put that kind of stuff out there that just says this is for this and this is for this, because the bass don't read the rule books. And so there are days I've caught them on black and cloudy, you know, black bottom frog on cloudy days and on sunny days. And it just all depends. Like I tell a lot of people, I throw 3 or 4 different color frogs, a black one, a white one, a green pumpkin one, and a yellow one. And I'm talking about the color of the belly. I could give a rat's rear end what the top of that frog looks like. I'm looking at the belly. And I try those until the bass tell me what they want. So thanks, Jeremy Baker. Appreciate it. Britton Hewitt, what is the best style of soft plastic for Texas rigging around wood? Whoo! Most of the year, I'm going to be throwing some type of a creature bait that has legs that kick. As the water gets warmer, I want legs that kick a lot. So I'm typically throwing rage tail stuff because those baits have the most action. Rage baits are just awesome. And then, but a lot of times when it gets really, really hot, if they're not hitting that creature bait, I go straight to a ribbon tail worm. You know, a Zoom U-tail or a old monster or something that's got a ribbon tail, and I'm going to be flipping and dragging that around. So, all right, let me catch my breath real quick. Isaac Clary, I have not fished Lake Jacassie in South Carolina. Lake Juliet in Macon. Have you been there? I haven't been there in years and years, since before YouTube. And I used to go there just to catch striped bass because that was the coolest experience. They had giant bass that would take you for a ride, and it wasn't a very big lake, so it was pretty interesting. Oh, man. How would you fish for suspended fish? I'm struggling with crankbaits right now. Now a whole lot. Let's see. When I've got fish suspended this time of the year, I don't want to try to catch fish that are suspended way out in the middle of the lake and nothing around. I'm looking for fish that are suspended off of a point or suspended off of a drop, and they're not on the drop. Okay. And let me tell you why. The best way to catch those fish, and the way that I understand the most, is that when I find fish that are suspended off of a ledge or suspended off of a point, and they're up off the bottom a bit, I remember what depth they are on my fish finder. Then I go to the shallow side, up on the point or up on the ledge to the shallow part, and I'm going to throw out deep towards them. The goal isn't to catch them while they're out there. The goal is to get them to start following my crankbait. Every cast, they follow a little bit closer and a little bit closer, and bring that school of fish to that ledge or to that point. And for some reason, once they get to the bank, to the shore, they tend to turn on and start biting a lot easier than they do when they're suspended. And I'm talking about largemouth bass. Spotted bass, they're going to bite out there. Largemouth, you got to bring them to that bank and bring them to that ledge with your crankbait. And then all of a sudden they'll start biting. And then you feverishly make cast after cast, catching fish after fish, getting them in the live or getting them back in the water as fast as you can and make another cast, and you'll catch a ton of them. But that's the trick, is to bring them to the cover or bring them to the structure, and then they typically will start biting. So, pro tip. Oh, Michael Moon, that's a good, I like that. He says you could always try and do videos comparing the different electronics manufacturers and showing what each does the best. You may have some friends who would let you use theirs. He's talking about himself. Yes, it's a good idea. The only problem is sometimes I'm too brutally honest, and I have to be careful what I say because I hurt people's feelings. That further down the road, the industry is really, really small. So I'm really careful about how I say things about certain products, unless they pissed me off, and that's a whole different ballgame. But anyway, I'm really careful. But that's a good idea. I'd love to be able to compare them. But you know me, I like to be able to use something for a long period of time before I have an opinion on it. And that's just me. I like to understand it and learn the ins and outs of it. So Egomaniac says, do you think there's a significant difference in $200 rods versus $500 rods? No. Honest with you, no. 15, 20 years ago, yes. Oh, yes, there was. There was a huge difference. But now, the way graphite technology is and stuff like that, I fish with $80 to $100 rods. That's it. I'm jacking giants with a $60 swim bait rod right now. It all depends, really. Now, the best rods on the market are $500, but the significance or the difference between a $200 rod and a $500 rod, you got to have a lot of experience to be able to tell the difference. and a lot of money. But anyway, so that's my opinion anyway. And yes, the $500 ones look better. S&S Outdoors, they are prettier. What do you look for in a multi-purpose rod, and how expensive would it be? I have a specific multi-purpose rod that I use most of the time. But all right, I wouldn't say I use it most of the time, but I use it for a lot of different techniques. And that's a medium fast action rod. I use it a lot for a lot of moving baits. I can use it for a spinnerbait, crankbait, buzz bait, top water, all kinds of different stuff. But that's only for that size and that type of bait. I have another multi-purpose rod for jigs and Texas rigs and that stuff like that. And that's a 7'3" medium heavy. And so those are my two multi-purpose rods. They'll cover most everything. And then I'll have a finesse rod, a spinning rod or something like that. Now, right now I'm fishing with a jig rod that's a 7'4" heavy or 7'4" heavy. I got a 7'3" medium heavy, and I've got a 7 foot or 6'10" medium fast. And those are the three rods that I always have. Anyway, so that's what I think about a multi-purpose rod. You got to evaluate what you're fishing and how you're fishing with it in order to do it. And I don't, again, $80, $100. The new 13 Fishing V3 that's coming out, the white rod that I've been waiting to get. I know they're out on the market, but I just can't get them because you guys buy them up so fast. I love the ones I've got. The prototypes or the samples that they sent me a year ago, I love them. And they're $100. And then the new Fate Blacks, the Gen 3 Fate Blacks, they're $80, and they're great. So, whoo. Let's see. Any luck with bandito bugs? I use a rage craw. They're the same bait, so I'm always I'm loyal to rage craw anyway. But also they're a little bit cheaper. Or the the bandito bugs. Yeah, they're like the rage bugs. That's what they're like. But yeah, dude, that's what I use. Hey, buddy, that kayak trailer, wow, what a rig. You should go ahead and make that your signature Flukemaster trailer and get 100 made to ship out. I would, but they're already a model. It's the turning double. He's already making them and putting them out. But I am about to get the rod tubes personalized. I got a new wrapping design. I just can't wait to show you guys. It should, in the next few weeks, I should be able to get my truck wrapped. Hopefully before Icast. We'll see. So, what can I do to stop losing my crankbaits? I want to catch a fish on them so bad, but I end up losing $7 every time I try. Don't make another cast with a crankbait until you go get a lure retriever. Look in my archives of my videos just do a search for lure retriever in my videos and get the Tipton's Golden Retriever or something similar. You can buy them at Bass Pro Shops for about $15, $20. And go out and make sure you have one of those with you so you can get your crankbaits back. If you're bank fishing, get one of those long pole lure retrievers that have the corkscrew on the end. I don't have one. I've never used one, but guys I know that crank from the bank, that's what they use. So here goes my posture again. Let me get scooted back up in my chair. Whoo! I need to just fast before I have I do Friday Night Live, so I don't have such a hard time talking after I eat dinner. Let's see. Is there a certain number of current generation that would tell you how the bass are feeding? No, it all depends on the lake, really. I got lakes that the bass feed have zero current, and they feed really good when there's a certain amount of wind and that kind of stuff. Just every lake's different. That's a good question to ask, like a guide on whatever lake you're interested in. Went fishing on the Brazos River and could only catch bass under a pound and under shade. Should I have stopped by the small creeks and fished there? For me, I'd be fishing the current seams. Shade is good. You're going to catch fish there every time, but don't pass up a place that's got a good eddy or a good current seam, and you'll be able to catch them, especially right on the edge, right in the mouth of those creeks and pockets. So let's see. Dan, everybody's telling you good luck, and I missed your comment because everything flew by real fast. But good luck for whatever it is. Never fished Parksville Lake in Tennessee. Yes, I have. I fished Parksville. I was supposed to fish it this year with Caleb Bell and could not get up there. What is a good price bait caster? Emily, what I always tell people is don't buy one less than $60. It's something about that $60 to $75 range where there's like a switch that goes from a really bad reel to a decent reel that you can get away with for a year or two while you're learning how to cast a bait caster. I like to say $80 to $100 if you want one that's going to last you for a little while. Even $120 will do good too. But that's if you're looking for entry level somewhere in that price range, $60 to $120. So let's see. Caleb, I don't follow the Bass Pro Tour that close. Let's see. Brandon G, I keep reading that big worms 10 inches or more are great for summer bass, but no one says the reason why. Do you have any insights? The only insight, let me give you an example. In April, I bought 11 bags of 12-inch or 11-inch worms, 11 bags of 11-inch worms. I'm down to my last 2 bags. And I'm catching giant fish. I think it's because when they get offshore, they start feeding on different things. They stop so much looking for crawfish, but they start looking for bluegill and they start looking for bigger baits that, I guess they do eat crawfish if they're out there, but they start looking for bigger baits that will fill them up quick and they have to use less energy. Because when the hot water gets hot, they kind of start getting skinny. I caught almost a 10-pound bass years ago in September, and you could tell it had just come out of deep water, was up to feed and was up for the fall to feed and everything else. And it was skinny as a rail. Had it been full size, it would have been about 13 or 14 pounds, but it was a skinny, basically 10-pounder, 9.98 pounds. And so they don't eat a whole lot in the summertime, in my experience, but a big worm is an easy meal. Now, when was the last time you saw a worm swim through the water at 100 miles an hour? You got to fish them slow. And when I say slow, I mean painfully slow. And you'll find yourself catching a whole lot of fish, especially on offshore structure and offshore cover. So I hope that made sense. I was kind of all over the place with that one. What's your favorite natural jig color for any lake? I have 2 jig colors, black and brown. Black and brown. That's all I use, and when I say brown, green pumpkin is a brown. I know they say green pumpkin, but if you look at it, it's still a brown. So black and brown is what I use. And I'll mix a little orange in there maybe, or some green pumpkin in there maybe, but mostly black and brown. So do you ever have trouble getting a good hook set, dragging a jig, and how do you correct it? No, well, not anymore. I did. When I'm fishing a football head, I have to keep in my mind that I'm fishing a football head because they're notorious for blowing the fish's mouth open when you set the hook. When I lose a fish, it's because I reeled down real fast and I cracked the hook as hard as I could. And I just blew the fish's mouth open and I might have caught a little bit of the skin on the way out and he jumps once and the jig comes out. So what I try to remember is, okay, I'm fishing a jig with a big head, and when I set the hook, I want to pull it tight, and as that rod starts to load up, as the tip of that rod starts to bend, that's when I pull hard. I don't pop it. I don't crack it. And so I'm able to force that weight up against the lips of the fish's mouth and then set the hook, and it just kind of pops out, and the hook grabs the fish. You get a lot better hook set, and you'll find you'll catch a lot of them in the corner of the mouth or in the roof of the mouth when you do that. Number 2, when I am fishing like a cone-shaped head, a swim jig or the structure bug or structure jig by Strike King are the two that I fish. That I can crack it a little bit harder. I can reel down and pop it, but I still also got to remember that I have a good chance with a ½ ounce or heavier to blow that fish's mouth open. So that's how you fix that problem. And if you find that the fish are coming up and just opening their mouth and that bait is just popping or flying out of their mouth, that could also mean that they're clamping down really hard, getting the bait back in their crushers before you can set the hook, clamping down so hard you can't get the hook set. And the way you fix that is you start stutter setting. So you pull it tight and you go pop, 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 pop. And as you're pulling back, and you'll get that tip of that hook in, and you'll get them. That you ever see these pros set the hook multiple times? That's what they're doing. Dan Fronius has his first kayak tournament in the morning. Good luck, man. Have fun with it. Absolutely. Make all the mistakes now, because when there's big money on the line, you don't want to make any mistakes. Let's see. Matthew, when casting with lures, do you use a small weight to cast further or only lure weight? Will it affect the way it reacts in water? Also, do you have a recommendation for a YouTuber on tips and tricks? When casting with lures, do you use a small weight to cast further or a lure weight? Just with lures, I'm just using the lures. If the weight's going to affect their action, typically it's going to affect their action. I'm not going to worry about it. I just try to get the best cast that I can. I'm more interested in accuracy than I am with distance most of the time. So it's amazing how close you can get to fish and not spook them. But with the YouTuber stuff, as much content as you can put out, and don't ever quit, and grind and grind and grind and grind is the best thing. So David says, hey, when's the next time we're going fishing on that private stocked lake people think we fish on? What's funny is Damon finally beats me after 2 years of trying, and it's the first Friday Night Live that he stayed for nearly the whole thing just so he could rub it in. Hilarious. But yeah, people are accusing us because we're catching such good limits. We've put so much time out on that lake to learn it. And it's a public lake, but everybody always accuses us of fishing in private lakes because we're doing so well. It is what it is, man. That's tournament fishing. When you start getting real successful, there's always a few that want to knock you down. Rocky Lois, thanks for the $10. It says brought a 13 fishing Omen, and the line guide rings broke. Any idea on repairing it? If you bought an Omen, the best thing to do is contact them through their website and use their warranty is what I would tell you to do. So what it sounds like is the ring that's in there, the ceramic ring probably broke. If it's the tip, it's easily repaired. You need to take it to somebody who knows how to do it. But I do that often when I'm not paying attention. I reel my line up really fast, and that tungsten weight hits the tip. You hit the tip enough times that little insert's going to break. So guilty. Thanks for the $10 and another $10. Are you going to do a video on your kayak electronic setup and sweet trailer? I did one on my trailer already. The electronic setup, not yet. I've got a few things to work out before I do that, but definitely want to do one of my kayak layout for sure. How do you fish when lake water is really high and brush is submerged and hard to see? I'm still fishing points. I want to fish points that were there before the lake came up, but I'm going to fish the brush that are on those points. Another big thing is I want to fish the fairly steep banks. I don't want to fish the ones that are really flat that, the water goes way back in the trees. I hardly ever catch fish there. I always catch fish, or when I catch fish, they're usually in an area where I'm fishing the bank, but if I make a cast, I can hit dry land. And so it's not far. You don't have to go way back in the brush, and the bass are usually right there along that, if that helps any. So Micromoon, yeah, because we know you're not a trash talker at all. I didn't say that. I'm a big trash talker. You get in a competition with me, and I'm going to try to get in your head every time. I love it. And when you're on the boat with me, I'm going to rag you left and right. But I expect it in return as well. So always expect it in return. Thanks, Michael. What should I throw in deep water? I usually throw a drop shot for finesse stuff, something that sinks fast, like a drop shot or a shaky head. Deep diving crankbait, jig, Texas rig. Something I can get down there fast and drag on the bottom. Let's see. Rocky Loy says that's exactly what happened. Yep, I am so guilty of that. Man, I've broken so many rod tips. Find a guy local at like one of your local shops. See if you can find somebody that repairs rods. That's not a hard fix. It's not an expensive fix. Get it fixed if you don't want to mess with 13's warranty deal. It's not a big deal. It really isn't. So I got an old video on how to do it yourself too. If you want to, risk damaging the rod doing it, but it's easier just to find somebody else that can do it for you. Alec Parsons says, used your advice from last week for overhand casting the couple times I made it to the lake this week, and it was awesome. Casting further than ever and only a couple minor backlashes. Thanks, man. That's what I'm talking about. That's awesome. Holy cow. See, I'm right sometimes. That's awesome. Congratulations, man. Keep practicing. You'll get it better and better all the time. When's the last time you went fishing and didn't catch anything? The first day of the Bass Nation Kayak Series National Championship. Yep, I didn't get a bite. Nothing. I was so jacked up in my head after the first hour and a half, I could not catch up with myself. So I got squirreled, as I call it. Anyway. Yep, I suck. David Fields, man, thanks for the $20. Said, what's up, bro? Need to get together and hit the hill or Murray or the river. It's cooler. Keep it up. I do need to get out that way. Matter of fact, I might get out that way. I got a message from a buddy of mine I have not checked, and he lives over there. And I know they've got to get together. He said something about a get together on the 4th. So I'll let you know. I may stay in their house and stay through Monday, but I don't know. I haven't okayed it with the boss lady yet. So thanks for the $20, brother. I always appreciate it. You're awesome. Johnny Granville, the beard is looking righteous. Wish mine wasn't all gray. Well, the beard is probably about to go away. My wife has finally said it's time to go, and it's driving her nuts. So I'm probably going to trim it a little bit to start with, but I'm eventually going to get it back down to where it was. The other issue I have is nobody recognizes me when I'm at these events. Going to Icast, nobody's going to know who the heck I am. I'm worried about that because that's where I usually pick up more sponsors and that kind of stuff. I don't need any more sponsors. What am I talking about? Never mind. I'm just going to trim it. I've never fished in Lake Placid, Oscar. I sure haven't. Sorry. There's Devin Negron. He says, hey, Gene, what would you recommend if I am trying to buy either Shimano Crotto K or the Shimano Crotto 150 DC bait caster reel? I have not used either one of those. I've been sponsored by 13 Fishing for 5 years now. But to be honest, and I tell this to people whenever they ask my opinion on Shimano, is I've never been a Shimano fan. Not even way before I got into YouTube or before the internet. Just never been a Shimano fan. I've always got to the point where I held a Shimano reel in my hand. I played around with it at the store and stuff like that, and then looked at the price tag, and it just didn't compute in my head. It just always seemed like they were more expensive than what they felt like. So, and I know that's a horrible way of testing a bait caster, but that's just me. See, Angler Alex, using one of the tactics on one of your older videos, I caught my very first bass. Thanks for all you do. That's awesome, man. Uh-oh, you're hooked now, though. Might as well go ahead and sell the house. Oh, man. That's awesome. Congratulations. Brandon Jackson, thanks for your videos, man. I really appreciate you. What is your Best couple pieces of advice for jig fishing. I'm really getting excited about jig fishing and wanted to learn how to get more bites. I got a video I'm probably going to launch Sunday or Monday that Jordan just finished editing. That's basically my jig fishing 101 for beginners, for guys who just can't get a bite on them and stuff like that. It's going to be a great video. The biggest thing I tell people is keep it on the bottom and fish it super slow, and understand when it's in the water that skirt is moving. Whether you're moving the bait or not, the current or whatever is going to be moving that skirt. And that is a lot of action for what you need. You know, it's perfect. It's the perfect amount of action, even if you're not moving that bait. So the slower, the better, and you'll catch fish. The other thing is hard bottom. You've got to be fishing hard bottom or drops, you know, anywhere that's a hard bottom. And I talk about that in the video. So just wait a couple days and you'll see it, man. So don't take away the beard. I may just trim it. Michael Moon, man, thanks for $10. The old man Michael Moon, senior Michael Moon. Goodness. If y'all don't know, Michael Moon and Michael Moon are their dad and son, you know, Moon Jr. And they're friends of mine, live over in Alabama. So I don't hold it against them, the fact that they're Auburn fans. Poor fellas. What pound mono do you use for backing on your reels? It doesn't matter. The cheap crap that I have sitting in a drawer in my barn. If I had to pick a size, a 12-pound test. I think that like the heavier sizes are just too bulky. So, but it really doesn't matter. You're never going to get down that far anyway. So, you ever fished with Dowie? Yes, I have. I got an old video on how to fish a new lake, or how to fish a lake you've never seen, and that was on Wadowee. It's the first time I'd ever fished Wadowee. So, man, that gas station up on the north end, it's a gas station, storage unit, campground, boat ramp, restaurant. Is the best food I've eaten in Alabama to this day. I love it. I think it's called Waterfront or something like that. I've never fished on Norris. What is a good bait technique for after all day rain? If there's a rain all day, that water's probably rising. I'm heading to the bank and I'm going to be throwing a square bill or some type of a moving bait, and until I'm not getting bites, and then I'm going to go and I'm going to flip shallow cover. Because that rain, you get an all-day rain, that water's coming up, and those bass are moving to the bank looking for fresh food coming into the water. So, Oscar Perez, my personal best is a 10-pound, 12-ounce bass caught in Alabama. Do you fish small lakes? Small lakes in Florida? If so, which ones? I'm a small town called Frostproof. Never heard of that one. In Central Florida, about 80 miles north of Okeechobee. I fish, whenever I get down to where you are, I fish Jackson. I fish Fellsmere. And oh my gosh, my mind just went blank. Kenansville are the lakes I fish the most in Florida. They're my favorite ones. It's hard to get me away from all of those. Fellsmere, or it's called Headwaters, is a great lake, but it takes some preparation if you're in a kayak, because it's a long boat ride to get to where the fish are. How long does it take to grow a beard like that? I started growing mine in November of last year. So, and I got buddies that can't grow beard like this. So, Herc asks, what's the best hamburgers? Man, I make some pretty good hamburgers. I like stuffed hamburgers. I make a hamburger with blue cheese in the middle of it, but it's a specific type of blue cheese. You're going to get me talking about food, and I love good food, but I have a blue cheese. It's called Dankst Blue. It's a Danish blue cheese, and it's like butter, man. It's so good. Eli Self, how you doing, man? He said, what are you most excited about? Excited for Icast. I am always excited about seeing old friends. It's like a reunion for a lot of us who go every year. And we weren't able to go last year. It was nice to see some really good friends at the Bassmasters Classic Expo. but I get to run around the first day and just say hi to everybody. And you guys, if you know me, I love being friends. You know, I love being friends with everybody, and the fact that I just look forward to seeing people I haven't seen in a while is the biggest thing. As for product, the ones I know about, I can't talk about. But I'll definitely do some live videos while I'm there. I'm going to try to do as much stuff as so much stuff while I'm there that week that it drives you guys nuts, because I don't have any obligations to anybody. I'm basically just on call to my sponsors. Actually, there's one booth I'll be at every day, but I'm on call for my sponsors, that if somebody shows up and needs a video like Tackle Warehouse, I haul tail to their booth and I do a video about new products. So anyway, that's what Icast is for me. Hey, Gene, have you just considered doing a kayak video of how to do the trickier casting techniques like pitching and flipping, roll cast, etc.? I think I've got one. And I wonder if Jordan edited it or did something. I'll have to look. I did one just recently, but I just don't think Jordan's finished with it yet. So I throw so many videos at him, sometimes he gets behind. So what is Damien saying? It says, so what am I going to bet to beat you this month? You're not going to beat me this month, Damon. Not going to beat me this month. Don't worry about it. There ain't nothing you got to worry about. I got a goal this month, and I'm not this month. My 5-day rule is off. I usually limit myself to 5 days on these tournaments, so it gives the weekend warrior a chance. Not this month. I'm fishing every day I can. So Michael Moon, War Eagle, you suck. Does red lipless work for summer? No, I've never. I usually go chrome, black, chrome, and blue in the summertime, and I usually don't throw them at all until it starts to cool off again, until you start getting into fall. So Icast is in Orlando, Florida. It's only open to media buyers and sellers. It's a closed event for the fishing industry. Do a Fu Manchu. I am not shaving my beard to a Fu Manchu. I might, if I'm going to get rid of it, I'm going to do a Fu Manchu just to bug my wife for 5 minutes, but then I'm going to shave the rest of it. So, how can a first-time YouTuber get into Icast? I get in through sponsors. They take care of it. It's not cheap. You can get a media pass, and I think they're a couple $100, maybe more this year. So that's one way, but you have to prove you're a media guy, and it's pretty serious. So, Caden says, do you recommend spending more on your spinning setup or your casting setup? I usually spend more on my casting setup because a good spinning reel is really good spinning reel is usually $75 to $120 is a really, really good spinning reel. And so you can get by with spending less on a spinning reel, definitely, and still get a good one. So Clemson, I don't know if I want to answer this one. Anyway, I don't even want to read it. When it comes to having the most accuracy, what's the best tip? Extra fast, or moderate, especially regarding spinner baits? Would an extra fast tip help load it easier? Tip has nothing to do with accuracy. Having the right, having a lure that is not matched with the rod properly will have more effect on your accuracy than anything. So say, for instance, I'm throwing I've got a medium heavy rod, moderate, fast, it doesn't matter. Medium heavy rod that loads up, it takes a little bit of weight to load it up, and I'm throwing a lightweight lure. You're not going to be very accurate with it. And but there's a large spectrum of lures that will cast on that rod. And so the best thing is to make sure, if you're really worried about accuracy, make sure that you got a shortest rod you can get away with. And you're throwing a bait that matches that rod well is the biggest thing. So like when I'm playing around with my kids and we're doing accuracy, flipping and pitching and casting and stuff like that, I'm always going to have the rod I'm most comfortable with, and that's 7.3 medium heavy is what I do. and I'm going to throw a 3/8 ounce jig on it, or 3/8 ounce Texas rig, or something that's 3/8 ounce, because I know that weight the best, and I'm usually pretty accurate with it. If I drop to a 1/4 ounce, then I'm screwed. So, all right, real quick, guys, I'm going to talk about this week's sponsor, which is Signal Relief. For if you buy, first of all, Signal Relief, what it is, it's a patch that helps with discomfort and pain, is what it is. I've had one for 2.5 months. I don't know what kind of voodoo witch doctor crap it is, but it works. I put it on my shoulder when I pulled a muscle. That pain went away, and they last forever. So it's a drug-free way to get rid of your pain or get rid of discomfort and that kind of stuff. It really is great stuff. It's called Signal Relief. They're sponsoring this week and the next few weeks. Right now, you get 2 different discounts. They're having a flash sale on top of the Flukemaster discount. You got 3 days to take advantage of that. The link is down in the description. It's awesome, man. It really is. I don't know how it works. It has something to do with electrical signals to your brain and stuff like that, but it's pretty cool. It is pretty dang cool. So click on the link, follow, read everything about it, learn everything about it, and definitely just check it out, man. I really appreciate it. Like I said, links down in the description, and it's in the comments or in the description on Facebook as well. But one more question and we will call this a day. What do you think of a spinner bait for a beginner? I think that's a great bait for a beginner. Go to on my channel. There's a playlist called For Beginners. And that playlist is a great thing to start at, and just watch every video in that playlist. It'll get you a good firm foundation and get you started well. And it does talk about spinner baits and other baits that you can use that are really good for beginners. So Hunter, all right, you dropped me a $10 bill. So let's let's answer your question. Have you tried that Stealth Blade chatterbait? Personally, not a fan. What are your thoughts? I'm at about the same place you are. I'm not a huge fan, but I have not given it its go yet. And for me right now, chatterbaits are not the thing. So I'm going to have to wait until I get into some good conditions where chatterbait would be a really good thing, and then I'm going to throw it and see what it can do. It isn't as loud. I knew that. It's kind of a quiet, stealthy thing. And so it's going to be something I'm going to want to fish in clear water. So that's the biggest thing. So anyway, guys, I really appreciate it. For you guys that missed us, I'm sorry, but you can catch us next week. We're here every Friday night, or every Friday night that I can do it, at 9 o'clock Eastern. But like I always say, be sure to introduce somebody to fishing. Introduce them to my channel. Let me help you teach them how to fish. More importantly, get out on the water. Go ahead and catch some fish, and have a great day. We'll see you.